This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
Hey guys, do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry?
Sometimes.
Well, then let's have a new wave 80s bracket.
What? You're so gentle about that.
Yeah. Hey, do you really want to hurt me, Kit?
Do you really want to hurt
I wanted to be kind of like a little...
Do you really want to make me cry?
A little scared, you know? Then maybe you guys will be more likely to say, yes,
meek.
we do.
Well, yeah, that's
meek,
creepy, though.
Welcome to Baconsale, and I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And Jacob.
And we'd like to thank you.
The meek one.
What did we talk about last week? We'd like to thank you for listening to Fries?
Fries. Yeah, we talked about fries.
Moving on.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on, because we got a lot of show to get through. So we're doing another one of our brackets for March, because that's what we do to kind of sport, like the sport people do.
And we like to make people angry.
And we do. And we like to also torture ourselves.
Yeah.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
I've been so stressed out lately.
Me too. Like Ken and I, we created a bracket, and Jacob, you said that you weren't as experienced on this one.
I'm not. As we said already, this is new wave 80s, and this is
And
not
I'd like to
my chief territory.
What are we talking about today, Jacob?
80s new wave.
Okay, there we go. I'd like to put some of
official
the pre-blame on Jimmy Chunga, who helped us seed and create this bracket. And so if we choose wrong, it's his fault.
I like how it's Jimmy Chunga.
Yeah,
not just
right?
Chunga.
Not just Chunga.
I don't know.
Jimmy Chunga.
That kind of brings
It's
it down a little bit.
I feel like his mom,
Chunga,
calling him out.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
He's
Right?
Jimmy Chunga.
Jimmy
That's his
Chunga. Oh, that
Jimmy
that
Chunga.
Jimmy Chunga again.
Well, and I know no matter what I say, Chunga's going to be like, "Oh, Joel ruined it. I didn't even listen to the show, but Joel ruined it."
By the way, every time he
You'd be
does
like,
that,
"Easy,
I say,
Jimmy."
I actually say it's Jake's fault.
But we have a
Probably
bracket,
true.
which you can find at baconsale.com, that you can print off and play along at home.
Yes.
And we decided, since 90s, kind of the flavor of 90s was alternative music.
Right. It wasn't maybe the most successful music.
No.
There was R&B and, pop, I guess. But it was like the music that defined the decade. So with the 80s,
New wave.
New wave.
New wave really is, when you think of 80s music, you're probably thinking of new wave.
Yes.
And we're, of course, not going to include every single
or
band
80s
ever.
rock, because that's pretty.
Yeah, well,
We'll get there.
rock. We'll get there, too. We'll
We'll get there too. We're going to talk about U2 and AC/DC and
all those
Van
fun ones.
Halen. Like, that's what people think of too.
But when we think about 80s new wave, there's so many bands out there that kind of fall into that category. So we're not going to be able to include all of them. We included 64 of them on the bracket.
Just plenty, to be honest.
Yes.
Oh, it was plenty. And we had these moments of feast or famine where it was like we'd have way too many, and then we'd have not enough, and we'd have to build up again, and we'd go back and forth. Like, well, we've expanded our horizons this way, or chop it down this way.
So everyone I know you're going to be upset, but the scrutiny we put into this show is just so taxing. So we're trying our best, and we'll try our best.
And we're going to make people mad, and that's okay.
Yep. Let's get started. Let's start making people mad.
And here's the thing. We'll get started real quick. There's only going to be one winner, so some of your sweethearts are going to be gone this round, and we are so sorry, but
we're not sorry.
deal with it.
But we're not completing the bracket this time either.
No.
Like
the way it
usual.
works is we're gonna bring up two bands, and we're each going to put a vote in. And it's best out of three. So if 2 or 3 people vote for it, it advances to the next round. But we're only doing the first round, meaning we're going to go down from 64 to 32 picks. And then we're going to continue the rest of it in another show.
I'm predicting at least 25 high fives on this show.
So here's the other thing,
A lot
too,
of
about
high
this
fives.
show. And Joel, I haven't mentioned this to you yet. I was waiting until we were actually recording.
Oh, great.
But some of these, I only know by sound. I am not a great expert on 80s new wave, right? So I might need your help.
Which
means I'm going to need you to sing. a
Oh,
little.
there'll be a lot of singing.
Okay.
There's been a
Fine.
lot of singing in
Okay.
preparation.
All right.
You better not just promise that and then not sing.
Promises.
There we go.
Then to jump into the subject of new wave, just to give you a little brief overview, I owe most of my new wave knowledge to my sister. Thank you, Jen. And it's because she introduced me to almost all these bands.
Great work, Jen.
And I grew a love for it. Now, Kent and Jacob, you two are children and babies, and we're really alive in the 80s, and so you don't understand.
That's funny because this is kind of like music
funny.
for children, too.
I'm like 6 months younger than you are.
Yeah, Jacob's like 2 years.
Baby.
See, and I'll say it. I think you have the most knowledge of this stuff.
Passion, maybe.
Passion.
Well, we'll get
With
to
a
it.
P, Kent.
I brought something up to
He's
my sister,
passionate
and
about
she
this.
was like, yeah, everyone knows that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mrr.
But I will say, like, I also grew up with this. I mean,
Always the younger brother, huh?
every road trip, like my brother's 6 years older than I am, and every road trip, I mean, it was just new wave constantly. Pet Shop Boys, Erasure, and we're going to get there.
Yeah, my two biggest genres that I love are 90s alternative and 80s new wave. Like, those are my ultimates. And I put them almost on the same plane with one another as well because I love them both so much.
Right.
But new
They're
wave,
very
if you
different.
don't know, it's a genre. It's
Ooh,
kind
yeah,
of
we need to define this.
it's the bridge between classic rock and 80s pop. Like it's kind of this bridge between the two, and that's why you're going to find these hybrid bands in there where some of them are more rock, some of them are more pop, but new wave it actually became a term because people didn't like the term punk. They didn't think it was marketable enough. So they started calling the punk scene new wave.
And honestly, this was alternative back in the 80s.
Yeah.
This was the alternative sound.
Alternative to rock and roll,
Indeed.
alternative to,
Yeah,
I
to
guess they didn't
pop.
have adult contemporary in the beginning there. But it mostly includes kind of the synthesizers and electronic productions.
Bad fashion.
Yeah, crazy fashion that, you think
Yeah,
of
we'll
like
get there. Flock of Seagulls.
Flock of Seagulls, Boy George, like those types of characters came out of this.
They call this the second British invasion. Obviously the first happening in the 60s. This is when MTV came around, and so MTV coined this as the second British invasion.
Not when we were colonies.
Well, and in
Yeah,
fact,
I know, right? That actually, that makes sense.
wait a minute. But no, MTV actually holds a large hand in responsibility
Yes.
of new wave becoming the giant that it became.
Now, kids, MTV used to mean music television.
They used to play music videos on MTV.
Yeah.
But this the music video gave this kind of a vehicle for people to see what these bands looked like, and they looked different, they looked exotic, they
Vibrant.
looked futuristic in some
Yes.
cases, and that really did kind of cement in this genre. Although a lot of people say that new wave really doesn't exist, it's rock or it's pop. But new wave, you'll know it when you hear it.
Yes.
And also, I just wanted to bring up one thing that apparently the music industry was having a huge slump just before new wave came out, and new wave albums kind of saved the music industry there in the 80s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they were much cheaper to produce because you needed was a guy and a keyboard.
Yeah, some of these bands have like two people, and that's it.
Yeah, but yeah, so there's the kind of the background of new wave. I love it, and I'm really excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I've
So
been
let's-
loving the research so far. So
Let's dive in.
Hear that, fellas? That's paper.
that's actual paper.
All right.
You hate
future.
trees.
So the first band is Depeche Mode
Here we go. Here we go, everybody.
versus
Send your hate mail to Jacob A. Rogers at Baconsale.com.
versus the Romantics. Now, Joel, you're kind of a romantic, right? That's what it
yeah.
means.
Hopeless romantic, yes.
Yeah.
Now, the Romantics, they sing songs like, What I Like About You,
I like.
You Hold Me Tight, like that kind of that song. And then
Just listen to that
I
on the way
hear
over.
the secrets that you keep when you're talking in your sleep. Both fun songs. They had 4 studio albums in the 80s. They sold like 900,000 copies on just one
What's
album.
your favorite Depeche Mode song?
We're not to that yet.
Okay.
We got to give some
We'll
love
get
to the
there.
Romantics before they
All right.
lose.
Yeah, because the truth is, when you think of new wave 80s, you're going to think of Depeche Mode.
Right.
But we'll give the Romantics a little bit of due. Ken, do you have anything
came out
else to say?
swinging, the first band mentioned.
Fun fact about the Romantics. I mean, it's not really fun for them, but they discovered their managers had been misappropriating the profits earned by the band. So songs like What I Like About You were used for licensing, and the band didn't know anything about it, and they basically signed their contracts away. And so they couldn't even produce music. Like, these contracts were so airtight, they couldn't produce music till the mid-90s.
Wow.
And basically, by that point, this band was dead.
It seems like a lot of these bands really were just a bunch of kids who got together in the 70s and had no idea how to do business. And all of a sudden, their managers kind of screwed them over. Almost all these
Yes.
that kind of happened to them. But it's going to Depeche Mode. This vote is going to Depeche Mode because when you think of Depeche Mode, you think of Just Can't Get Enough. Just Can't Get Enough. I just can't get enough. Great lyrics, Jacob. Listen, they just can't get enough.
Oh, this is clever
Just
stuff.
can't get enough. And you asked my favorite song. My actually favorite Depeche Mode song. I have many, but probably my ultimate favorite is "Enjoy the Silence." But that actually came out in January of 1990, so I couldn't include it.
Even
in
though it was
my-
probably on an album that was probably in 89.
well, Violator came out in 90, but they
Oh, did
released. They released one of the songs on Violator in 89, and that's why I could include that one, but not "Enjoy the
Okay,
Silence."
but they have like People Are People, Policy of Truth, Personal Jesus, Strange Love, all in the 80s, and they did transcend a couple decades there. But
And
they did.
overall, Depeche Mode. And I want to let you know, listener, that I am going to try to be as objective as possible this first round. Go with hard facts, go with the winner, and with over 100 million records sold worldwide from Depeche Mode, which is one of the highest numbers on this entire bracket, Depeche Mode wins.
Easy.
All right. I'm going to vote Romantics. So
Okay, here we go. This should be good.
the next round is Cutting Crew versus Wang Chung.
I just died in your arms tonight.
Thanks, Kent.
Ooh.
Yeah. That was a number 4 hit. They also had one for the
You're trying to get
Mockingbird.
romantic, but the truth is, I've been in love before. I've been in love before.
It's funny you bring that up because that was their second single in the UK. It didn't do very well, so they released one for the Mockingbird in the US, and that also didn't do well. And then they're like, "Oh, let's try the one they tried in the UK, which was I've Been in Love Before in the US." Sorry, I know it's confusing. UK US, but it did really well here.
I forgot who are we? Are we in the UK or are we in the US?
We are. It's
What
the
is he
third
saying?
British
I don't
invasion.
even know. There's a
So,
weird
anyways,
words.
I've Been in Love Before really picked up here, and so they re-released it in the UK, and it was a big hit. Then, like a couple months after the fact that it failed. But it was just kind of weird how it kind of jumps back and forth. And this happens a lot where singles are popular here and not in England, and vice versa.
There's some bands that had like 40 top 10 hits in the UK and then 3 here in the US.
Yeah, so Cutting Crew, they were together 85 to 93, 2005 to 2008, and 2013 till the present day.
It's like an old girlfriend.
So many,
right?
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
that was the weirdest thing about these bands is looking at them because I always am intrigued when it says to present with like older bands. It's like, oh, you're really still around touring.
But Cutting
And they
Crew is
are.
really doing it.
Well, but almost all of them have this gap where it's like, hey, they were a band from 82 to 86 and then 2005 to present. Almost all of them have that.
They probably started touring again. Like,
It's nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's got to be. And then Wang Chung, of course, because everybody Wang Chung tonight.
I call them Yellow Bell because in Chinese, Wing Chun means yellow bell.
Yeah. And it's not spelled the same, though. It's like
Yeah.
Huang Chung. But when they tried to...
what do they sing, Joel?
Wang Chung?
Yeah.
Everybody have fun tonight. Everybody Wang Chung tonight. And also...
Dance Hall Days.
Dance Hall Days, I'm a fan of, although my favorite Wang Chung song is neither of those. My favorite is Let's Go.
Yeah, it's a good
I
song.
love that. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Come on. In fact, that one I play on the Alexa when it's time for the family to round up and get in the van.
Yeah.
I'll turn the volume up to 8 and start blasting it out. The kids
Oh,
know
to 8,
that's-
Joel, take it easy.
We don't go to 10 in this household. We have neighbors.
I mean, more than 10 kids, but yeah.
But yeah, and so I love that song. I love that band. As campy as they can be, I think Wang Chung has got to take it.
Easily.
All right, next match is Madness versus Billy Idol.
Now, Madness, they sing "Our house in the middle of our street, our house."
Yeah, that's
I also have It Must Be Love.
Yeah,
That's
that
it.
one go? I don't remember how that one goes. Some of these was
We'll
hard for me
edit
to
it in
remember.
post.
Some sound just like like sitcom songs, right? It's like
Hey, Joel knows every sitcom song. Don't even
it
question
really
him on
does,
that.
right? Yeah.
by the way-
it seems like there's a lot of crossover with some of these.
Funny
though.
story, actually.
Yeah.
The band of Madness was actually approached by Ben Elton and Richard Curtis, who created Love Actually and About
Yep.
Time, to do a television series. And it never went through. They ended up falling apart. The band fell apart before they could make a television
So
series.
like a reality television?
No,
or-
like they were going to do. I think it was a television series kind of based on Our House. It was kind of this crazy family living together.
So
But
here's-
they sold 4 million albums
Yeah.
worldwide,
And here's the thing: they spent
4
Madness.
million.
which is more than a lot of these bands.
Okay.
No, honestly, it's more than modern bands.
So
if
just
you think
to,
about
just
it.
to give you the range, like it's between like a couple million and 100 million. Like Depeche Mode's the
Right.
top end of this. This
Yeah.
is kind of, I don't know, lower third.
Yeah, exactly. So Madness, they actually spent 214 weeks on the UK singles chart. 214, tied with UB40.
Well, that's quite a
If
few.
you've,
Yeah.
And if you've ever played Just Dance 3, you may have played Night Boat to Cairo by Madness.
yep.
That's a fun dance one. I recommend that one.
So look, Madness, really fun band, but they're going up against Billy Idol.
Who sings Dancing with Myself? Bill,
He's got better ones than that.
that's what? Like what?
Actually,
Jacob,
Money
what do you
Money
say?
is
White
his,
Wedding?
Yeah, White Wedding.
Hey,
Money
little
Money is his
sister,
number
what
one
have
hit.
you done?
Money Money is actually his only
Are you
number one
saying
hit.
Money Money?
Oh, Monet. How do you pronounce it?
Moni Moni.
Is it Moni Moni?
It's not Money Money.
It sounds like Money.
Yeah,
It's Moni Moni.
Like you just saying it weird.
I remember
Yeah.
this weird Yankee
It's
Vic did
Moni, really?
Alimony.
Sing
Yeah.
it. Sing it.
Alamo. What? Here she comes now saying Moni Moni.
It's Money.
I really think he's saying money.
It's actually Moni. And Cradle of Love
I know,
hit number
Jacob,
2.
I know you couldn't read when this song came out.
It doesn't matter how that's
but
spelled.
it says Moni Moni.
And
That's the name of the
for
song.
some reason, I wrote a fun fact that he, family friendly, but he first smoked if you know what I mean, at the age of 12. And he said he took acid at the age of 13. And honestly, this led him to kind of have a really terrible overdose near the end of his singing career in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then he dedicated his life to fatherhood and has only recently come back into music.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because, by the way, his name is William Michael Albert Broad is his name.
Yes.
He's an
Oh,
Englishman.
man. He should have went with that.
Yeah. But he called himself Billy Idol because of a teacher's description of him as
Idol. IDLE.
But I think we're both agreeing that
Yeah, it's
Billy
Billy
Idol's
Idol.
going to move on in this one. Sorry, Madness.
Well, you guys agree too much.
We haven't even high-fived. Can we do high fives? A couple high fives
You
in a
have
row?
to have 3.
Here we go.
I was going to keep my hand there.
That was the most awkward high five I've seen.
Slap hands!
We don't really finger boop anymore. We're slapping hands.
Well, that's true. Well, that's an improvement, I guess. All right, next match is going to be Berlin versus the B-82s.
B-52s, Jacob?
Nope, B-82s.
So,
Oh, Jacob,
here
you
we
were
go.
so young then. You couldn't count. It's okay.
So I don't want to say this
Are they kind of a
because
one-hit wonder, B-52s?
No, they actually had a couple big hits.
Did they?
Yeah.
everyone probably knows Berlin based off of "Take My Breath Away," the number one hit single from Top Gun. Boom.
You know, they didn't even write that song.
They didn't.
They didn't write that song, and that caused a huge contention in the band because that was their final big hit.
Yeah.
And they had contention because some people wanted to own it. Yeah, that's our song. And other people were like, we didn't write it. We didn't produce it. Like, we just kind of were given this song by the filmmakers.
And the song is not new wave at all. But if you actually go back and listen to their other stuff, you'll actually know the songs.
Riding on the metro.
Yeah, the metro. Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, it's so new wave.
Words.
Yeah. So those are their other 2 hits. They actually didn't have any connections to the capital in Germany. They're from Orange County, California.
Yeah.
They just really liked the name because it was European and exotic.
Yeah, they did like it. And with 1.5 million albums sold for Berlin. And then you get...
Cool band, though. Like, really cool.
band. But then you get the B-52s. And they have Love
The
Shack.
B-82s,
Of
as
course.
I like to
Yeah,
call them. Like,
B-82s.
the updated version is 82.
Which,
way
by the way,
behind.
they're not named after the plane. They're named after the beehive hairdo that mimics the nose cone of the plane.
Yes. And also, so this was the
You
singer.
guys shouldn't both be going for cold hard facts. We made a mistake here.
No, this is the way it's gonna be, Jacob. B-52 sold 7 million. You better love that.
That's my falsetto. Yeah. So, and actually, the singer Strickland, I don't know his first name, but
Fred
Strickland, maybe?
No, Fred Schneider.
Schneider. Okay, then one of the band members, he heard
Keith Strickland.
Keith Strickland.
Right.
In a dream, he heard someone whisper in his ear the name of the band, B-52s.
That's how they got their name.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Oh, yeah, I was going to give more fun facts about names, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so they have Rock Lobster.
Which came out in 1978.
That is the worst song.
Fact check.
Okay, Private Idaho, Legal Tender.
That's fine.
Okay, those pass.
No, but like my
Rock
favorite.
Lobster? Is this what you're really saying is the other charting song?
Yeah, no.
No. Rome is. Like Rome.
Love Shack number 3, Rock Lobster number 56, Private Idaho 74.
You guys have
Tender,
listened to
81.
Rock Lobster, right? Because that
Yeah.
song goes on forever.
I love
A
that
long
one.
time.
Rock
Oh my
Lobster.
God. Oh, gosh, it's a
The only
headache.
part I don't get is when she gets into the dolphin noises.
Yes.
At the end when she's like, I'm like, turn it off. Turn it off.
Hold on, do that again.
No, my throat hurts now.
But look, I think we know that where this is going. Look, there's a band that stands out. And even though they didn't have the number one
Run
hit,
if you want to.
it's B-52s.
It is B-52s.
So I will
They
say,
didn't have a number one hit with Love Shack?
nope, number 3.
Yeah.
And Berlin had a number 1 hit.
Embarrassing for them.
Yeah, but it wasn't theirs.
But Jake, I'm going to agree with you. I think their music is pretty grating. I just think they're...
It is. I mean, Love Shack, of course, is
Yeah, it's
memorable,
annoying, though.
But it's still annoying. But it's still like leaps bet more than the other ones I've been listening to by them.
Yeah.
Jacob, do you want to vote on these last couple? Or
It doesn't matter. You guys just keep agreeing because you have the same tactic.
Well, we're going with cold hard facts here.
I know
Jacob.
you should have done that. One of you should have went with your heart.
It'll get more subjective as the show goes on. Trust me.
So subjective.
All right, we'll see. All right, next matchup is Fight to the Letters. It's ABC versus XTC.
Now, ABC, they sing, that's the look of love, which is one of my favorite songs overall.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then XTC, my favorite by them is actually Mayor of Simpleton.
Yeah.
Well, I may be the mayor of Simpleton.
Only hit number 72,
but
actually.
I know. XTC never really got commercial fame here in the U.S.
Well, and I'll say this, they started really early. Like, we went for ones that really peaked in the early 80s. These guys started 72, went to 2006.
Did we discuss our criteria that they had to peak in the 80s, be
Yeah.
almost exclusively 80s, have more than one hit?
We did not.
Because we are
should've.
saving one-hit wonders for another show. But XTC, also they had a lot of issues. Like Andy Partridge, who's the lead singer, he had this is actually kind of a sad story, but he had a nervous breakdown during the American tour in the early 80s. And so they quit the tour, which cost them, they got penalized like 20,000 pounds, which is like, more than $100 in American money.
Right. And it weighs a lot.
And since he had the nervous breakdown, they couldn't record any new material to make money. And then on top of that, their manager comes to him, and they went to their manager to be like, can you help us with this debt? And he's like, no, you owe me money, because he'd been screwing them over. So they had this really dark time there.
Yeah, and it's really kind of sad because they didn't really get a lot of success. And then only after they kind of gave up a little bit.
It probably would have helped if they made better songs too, don't you think?
Well, look, I mean, they had success in the UK enough.
Well, what is that? Some island somewhere? Who knows?
I know.
It really, like, there was one of their albums, Lemons and Oranges, that I really liked. I enjoyed Garden of Earthly Delights. Was one of my favorite songs. It's really kind of this surreal music, but I can understand why people wouldn't like it. It's very experimental.
Yeah.
But also, I think that they're just not as good of a band as ABC, who sings When Smokey Sings, which is
right.
When
Poison
Arrow.
Arrow.
How's that go?
When Smokey sings, I hear violins. Nothing?
No.
Did you listen to the playlist Kent created?
I did.
Okay.
So, in
I
honestly,
had to turn
good.
some down though.
in ABC's album, The Lexicon of Love, was pretty instrumental back in 1982, and I don't mean instrumental in that way. I just mean it was a number one hit.
That sounds
Yeah.
like your band's name.
Oh, you like Muse, don't you, Jacob?
Yeah.
So Starlight by Muse actually uses some of the chord progression from one of ABC songs, "Be Near Me." That
Oh, yeah?
dun dun dun
Starlight's a
dun
good song.
dun dun.
You really?
dun,
They're
dun,
borrowing
dun.
that?
That's totally from "Be Near
wow.
Me" from ABC.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those jerks.
ABC wins.
ABC wins.
Man,
Joel, we're agreeing on
we gotta stop
everyone.
this.
I told you. All right, next matchup is the fight to the Brits. Modern English versus the English beat.
So I always do this, and I may do this throughout the show, but I don't know lyrics of any of these songs.
Kent, you need to sing English beat. And then, Joel, you've got modern English.
I'll take
way
I'll
easy.
take the beat if you want.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Kent, do modern English.
So this is where I'm going to sing the wrong lyrics. I stop the world, I melt with you.
Wow, that was so close.
What is it?
I'll stop the world and melt with you.
And, okay, all and... Okay.
I will stop the world and melt with you. It's about
I smelt the world, I melt with you.
it's about a couple making out during an atomic bomb.
Really?
That's what they said.
Wow, I kind of love that.
And then the beat, so they have the one song that's like "Mirror in the Bathroom."
Oh, yeah.
Mirror in the bathroom. But then they have I can't do the save it for later. Save it for later. Dun, 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 dun. But
Really catchy stuff.
But the reason I know them, and by the way, they're known as the Beat in England. But when they came over here to America, they called them the English Beat because they had to distinguish them from another American band called the Beat.
And in Australia, they're known as the British Beat.
Yeah. But to me, the reason I like the English Beat or the Beat, whatever you want to call them, is because they are the music behind the final chase in Ferris Bueller's Day Off when he's trying to get home, and it's that
Oh, yeah.
dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. That little instrumental thing there, that's the English Beat. It's an instrumental version of one of their songs, which I really do like. And this is actually one, Ken, I may not agree with you on.
Yeah, we may not agree.
What are you going to pick?
The English Beat.
You're picking the English
I'm
Beat?
picking the English Beat.
Well, that's what he's saying he's going to pick.
I know, I just wanted to...
No, I was saying I have a place in my heart for them because of that, but I'm voting modern English because I feel like I'll Melt With You is one of the best songs of the 80s.
That's a great song.
Even though it's been used in
Good
like
song,
Burger King commercials.
But the Beat actually was more successful.
The Beat was more successful. Well, that's just it. They're about on par, it seems, in regard to sales. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm looking album sales, and then also Modern English. They had 2 hits, I Melt With You and Hands Across the Sea, 76 and 91. They didn't really peak all that high.
Look, it's got to be more than sales, too, right? There has to be legacy involved here.
There's legacy involved, and
Right.
I feel like being in a Burger King commercial is a darn good legacy. Well, for I'll Melt With
For
You.
30 years later, 40 or however long it is.
Yeah, I'm going to the Beat. Jake,
You're going with the Beat? I'm
Which
going
English?
Modern English for sure.
Yay!
Okay, our first
We
disagreement.
disagree.
Ruined my whole bracket. They were going to the end.
The Beat was going to the end.
The British
The
beats.
British,
The beat.
yeah,
the
British English beat. Yeah.
We got the Beat.
All right, next match is going to be Blondie versus Bananarama.
Can you do that the rest of the show?
Yes, do a British
Please?
announcer the whole rest of the show.
Sure, all right. Yeah.
I love it.
Oh my gosh, if we're talking hits here, these bands are loaded.
They are loaded, but the problem is one of them feels a little more 70s to me.
Well, that was my first thought when I saw Blondie on this list.
Like, in fact, Heart of Glass, one of their biggest hits, 1979, Kent.
Oh, okay. But we have many of those, Joel, that I think you're going to try to vote ahead. So I don't want you to use your logic against yourself.
I need singing. I need singing.
Okay.
So
I'm your Venus. I'm fire.
that's Bananarama. I'm the fire that's your desire. Have you not played it in Just Dance? Goddess on the mountaintop, burning like a silver
Can I
flame.
see your Just Dance moves as you're going? As he goes.
And the times I wish this was a YouTube channel.
Also, Cruel Summer.
It's a cruel summer. Please don't judge us by our singing. We're just goofing around here.
Too late.
And then if we go on Blondie, I mean, Rapture, The Tide is High, Call
Tide
Me.
is high.
Island of Lost
and I'm
Souls.
moving
Is
on.
Call Me, that's in the 80s.
Call
Yep.
me,
Yeah.
call me. Other day,
So they
call
actually-
me,
That one's got a good
call
legacy.
me.
That's stuck around.
They did well in the 70s, but it was really in 1980 when they really hit. Like literally the beginning of 1980, they hit, and then soon into the 80s,
What about in 97
broke
when it
up.
came out with Maria?
right?
You've got to see
So
her.
Blondie went
yeah.
from 74 to 82, and then 97 to present day.
To present,
so they
huh?
15 years.
It's a long
broken up.
time.
Yeah. Blondie inducted into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006. They have sold 40 million records.
They have sold 40 million records. And I love, like, Venus is one of my favorite 80s songs. And
Yeah.
it really does make me feel like the 80s. I also like how Bananarama, I heard a rumor. Almost all their songs, they all sing the melody together. There's no harmonizing whatsoever. That's kind of their staple. It sounds like layering voices, but it's all them. And they had so many hits in the UK. They sold 40 million records worldwide, which is one of the larger numbers on there,
Or tied with Blondie.
and tied with Blondie.
I would say they're more pop. I know Blondie is a little bit more 70s, but I think she truly belongs. She needs to beat Bananarama because and I say she meaning Debbie Harry, if Debbie Harry and Blondie do not beat Bananarama, this is an absolute travesty.
Debbie Harry is her name?
Yeah, it's Debbie Harry. She's an icon.
Bananarama had
haven't heard
4
that name.
albums in the 80s.
Okay.
Blondie had 2.
Yeah.
How do you end up with the last name Harry?
Your parents have it? I think that's literally what happens.
I know. How did that happen to
Jake,
begin
you're going to
with?
have to do this because I'm just putting this out there. If you vote for Bananarama, as fun as they are, over Blondie, get ready.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Jacob.
All right, I'm ready.
So you're voting Blondie, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to vote Bananarama. Because to me, when you turn on an 80s station and hear Bananarama, that's where you're going to find it. It was on an 80s station. Turn on classic rock station or 70s station, you're going to find Blondie.
I would say the same thing for pop music. That's where Bananarama would go.
Well,
Because they
80s
are
pop-
less synth than most other new wave bands.
All right, I'm ending
What?
this. I'm ending this now.
And okay,
There's
before you
enough
do,
arguments.
The Tide is High, Call Me, Rapture, all #1 hits. The only #1 hit for Bananarama was Venus.
She's got it. Yeah. Only number 1? Oh, the only
That's
number
their
one
only
hit.
#1 hit.
But they had Cruel Summer. They had I Heard a Rumor.
Yeah, also not #1 hits.
Robert De Niro's Waiting.
For real?
Robert De Niro's Waiting.
one
that
of their
song
top-
alone
That's one of their top
should make
UK
them lose.
hits.
That might make them win, just that song alone.
Jake?
They have Bananarama has the Guinness Book
Go with your
World
brain here.
Record as the all-female group with the most chart entries in the world. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot Kent's a sexist.
You guys are really...
Why are you going to do that?
you did it to yourself.
just for Call Me Alone, we're going to give it to Blondie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job,
You
Jake.
guys were really risking it there, though.
I'm sorry, Bananarama.
Who knows
I'm
what I'll do?
I am so glad that we're actually disagreeing on this show, though.
All right, gentlemen. No, that was Australian.
Crikey, that's fine.
Strike a light.
We have no problem because we have Aussies on here too.
Fair dinkum.
Aussie?
Aussie.
Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Oh, man, stop doing that. All I have is Australian in my head now. I gotta
Do
get
it.
that out. All right, for the next match, we're going to have The Alarm versus The Smiths.
That was pretty good, actually.
The Smiths. Because I cannot. I'm looking once again at the Alarm songs.
What do they sing?
I don't remember any of them.
So
What?
they sing
Why are they on
Sold
here?
Me Down the River, Strength, Rain in the Summertime.
They're on here
and
because of
Presence
Chunga.
Love.
Okay, I didn't know The Alarm either. but that does not say anything.
Hashtag blame Chunga.
Whoa, okay. You're going to get called out, just so you know.
Oh, like I wasn't getting called out anyway?
It's so true. I will say this. The Alarm is the kind of band I would have really liked because I wanted to hear stuff that you didn't generally hear on the radio.
Initially formed as the punk band The Toilets in 1977.
How charming.
But look, I actually really like their sound. I think they're really, really good. They sold 5 million albums.
Yeah.
And they had 16 top 50 UK singles.
They're one of our few Welsh bands here on the bracket.
Oh, yeah, good call. They were actually discussed in the book Wales since 1939. That's cultural influence right there. But look, you've got Morrissey and the Smiths. I mean, as much as I think I hate this band, and I think I hate them.
You hate the Smiths?
Yeah.
I think I do too.
Why?
I just have never really gotten behind the arrogance.
I was
going to
say, is this a pretension thing?
Yeah, it's I mean, this guy invented pretense.
Oh, yeah. Like the fact that he doesn't allow anyone to call him by his first name, like he has outlawed it. Like he told his band when they first formed, no one ever calls me by my first name, Steven. So, Steven, you're advancing this round.
Yeah, we're going to get a lawsuit. But they have been called the most influential artist ever by NME.
And we should talk about the fact about the Smiths songs. If you don't know who the Smiths are, Girlfriend in a Coma.
It's kind of hard
Girlfriend in a Coma,
Yeah.
I know.
Louder Than Bombs.
Oh, and man,
They don't really have like sing along tunes though.
but How Soon Is Now, you may not know the title of How Soon Is Now, but that
Yeah.
guitar riff, that that sound, when you hear that, you're like, oh, I know that
And
song.
his voice is really unrecognizable. Sorry.
I think it's
so recognizable.
Yeah. I think it's actually what was that witch TV show?
Oh, Charmed.
Yeah, I think it was it's the how soon that was a cat. How soon is
No,
now?
literally, that was a
is
cat.
the
How
theme
did the
song
cat get in here?
to Charmed. And then Panic is actually probably one of the few ones I really do legitimately like by the Smiths.
So even though I hate this band, they're going
Panic's
to
a
win.
good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next we're going to have to discuss the profound cultural influence of Oingo Bing. No, I can't get in the British accent.
Bing Bong.
Oingo Boingo.
Oingo Boingo versus a flock of seagulls.
So Flock of Seagulls went from 1980 to 86 and then 88 to present. So 87 was a bad year for a Flock of Seagulls.
Well, in Oingo Boingo, they're one of the few bands on here with an end date of 1995. Their
Yes.
last performance was a farewell concert on Halloween of 1995.
Because someone sold out.
No, it's because
Fell in love with Tim Burton.
Danny Elfman has said that
really?
he has irreversible hearing loss and is worried that playing live would exacerbate it.
Okay.
So he said he's not going to do live performances.
Here's what I found out that was interesting from these guys, and there's going to be a lot of our first round losers, but the specials, Madness and XTC, and remember Madness, did they go on? XTC lost already, but he was Danny Elfman was influenced by these bands. So there was influence there, and I think that should be part of this bracket.
Can I hear
I
some
thought was-
songs now?
From Oingo Boingo?
Yeah.
It's a dead man's party. Bam, bam, bam. Who could ask for more? Or from my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intentions?
Weird Science.
It sounds like something right out of a Tim Burton movie.
Oh, it totally does.
Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing about it, and I learned this too about Oingo Boingo, is the fact that it originally was called the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, and it was this performance art group.
Yes.
And Danny Elfman's older brother, Richard Elfman, was running it. And then when he decided to go into filmmaking, he passed the leadership of band to Danny Elfman, and Danny Elfman turned it into this new wave pop sensation.
No, with every name change, they've changed the genre. So it's the Mystic Knights of Oingo Boingo, then just Oingo Boingo, and then just Boingo.
Yeah, they've kind of gone around with that. And then Danny Elfman, of course, went on to become a great composer that Kent and I have talked about every Tim Burton movie.
Right. And then you have Flock of Seagulls, who are known, honestly, for their haircuts.
And I ran so far away.
If you've seen La La Land, there's actually a joke about the terrible piano work that's in Iran.
Yeah.
Because Emma Stone has Ryan Gosling play it, and he is just insulted to have to play that song because it's not great.
But then they had Space Age Love Song, though, which
Yeah.
I also really like that one. And that one's
The
mostly
More
about
You Live,
guitar.
the More You Love as well. They won the Grammy Award in 1983.
And they were formed in...
And honestly, a lot of these bands didn't win Grammy Awards.
Yeah.
They weren't really recognized.
Yeah.
Flock of Seagulls really does seem to be like the epitome of an 80s band because they wanted to create a specific look so they would stand out. And Mike,
And they did.
the leader of the band, was a hairdresser.
Oh.
And so he decided to do, if you haven't seen it, it's like this weird comb back with wings on the side look. In The Wedding Singer, there's actually a joke about it where they walk by this group of people and they're like, oh, Flock of Seagulls fans? They're like, yeah, how'd you know? And it's because his hair's all weird. But this is actually a little more, it's not difficult because I know who should win, but I really do like
Well, it's kind of like
Flock of Seagulls.
who's more new wave? I think it's a Flock of Seagulls.
You think they're more new wave than Oingo Boingo?
I do. Oingo Boingo is so experimental, and you don't really know what genre they fit in, but they have to win. They just have to win. This is almost a Blondie vote here.
Yeah. I mean, looking at it, I like Flock of Seagulls. I appreciate Flock of Seagulls. I appreciate the 80s of Flock of Seagulls, but I've got to give it to Oingo Boingo.
Yep.
All right, for our next choice, we're going to have to decide between the remarkably redundant artists Talk Talk and the Thompson Twins.
A lot of T's there.
TTs.
No, Kent. If you wouldn't have giggled as you said it, it wouldn't have been so.
This is a giggle.
I can't help it.
He giggled.
I just can't.
So Talk Talk, they sing, "It's my life, don't you forget."
Isn't that Bon Jovi?
No, that's
It's my life.
Yeah.
It's now or never.
Also, they sing, Talk Talk sings a song called Talk Talk, which is probably my favorite song by them.
It's a good song.
All you do to me is talk, talk.
So,
talk, talk.
so when they
talk.
announce that, it's like Talk Talk by Talk Talk.
That's what the Alexa says.
Curse you,
So
Alexa.
they're actually from England, but they actually couldn't hit it big in England for some reason. It was like anywhere in Europe, New Zealand, and the US, and then the UK finally, like at the end of their career almost, realized who they were.
Yeah.
So they achieve some pretty good success.
Well, they say that Talk Talk's influence is on musicians is much more than their visibility among the public. Like people really do like them. Artists who've said that Talk Talk was an influence to them include Tears for Fears, Matthew Good, M83, Death Cab for Cutie.
Yeah.
They've been covered by Weezer and No Doubt. Of course, everyone knows the No Doubt cover of "It's My Life." That was pretty popular. They're a good band, but then I get the Thompson Twins, and man, those songs.
Yeah, sing some of those.
Hold me now.
If you want.
Oh, hold my hand.
What? My heart.
Stay with me. Joel, I full on give you the disclaimer that I don't know the words,
That's what I
okay?
enjoy. And there's Doctor, Doctor. Can't you see I'm burning?
Ooh, more redundancy.
Yeah. Also, I like
Yeah, good call.
Lies, 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 yeah. That was not my one of favorites, but I like
They have a lot of hits, even in the top 50.
All right, so is this one going to
Lay
Thompson
your
Twins
hands on me.
or Talk Talk?
I've got to go with I've got to go with Thompson Twins on
It's
this one.
easily Thompson Twins.
Yeah.
All right, for our next matchup, we're going to have the Eurythmics versus Echo and the Bunnymen.
Everyone should know that that is the second take of that intro right there, because as Jake was saying that, Joel's Echo actually turned on and started talking to us
Yes, we
about
have the name-
Bunnymen.
We have the name changed to Echo because my niece is named
Echo,
Alexa.
tell us about Bunnymen.
Oh, I unplugged her.
Yeah, it's already done with. So
Barely knew her.
Eurythmics started in 1980 to 1990, and then 1999 to 2005.
Yep.
Echo and the Bunnymen started in 1978 to 1993, and then 1996 to present.
Echo and the Bunnymen.
A lot of numbers.
Here's the
Winner
thing
of
about-
the weirdest, most abstract artist title here.
You should just keep doing that, honestly. The thing about Echo
Just
and
my
the
new
Bunnymen,
persona.
they actually didn't have any charting hits.
No, like lips like sugar,
kisses.
That was
AKA the most annoying song ever.
Killing Moon.
You guys like that song?
I didn't. Lips like sugar.
Yeah.
it gets stuck in my head so easy.
Oh my gosh.
I don't
They just
love it.
keep saying it
But
over.
then Killing Moon was one that I didn't know the title of, and then listened to it. I'm like, oh, that song, because it's more about the music than it is the lyrics.
Yeah.
But the Eurythmics, let's hear one of those.
Sweet dreams are made of cheese.
No, you're not Kent, you're Joel.
I know. Who am I
No, no.
to disappear?
That's not the best version of the song. Sweet dreams are made of
No. It's more like,
these.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
That's very creepy.
which
very,
I like.
very creepy.
The Marilyn Manson version is on my Halloween playlist.
Here comes the rain again.
Would I lie to you? Bum, bum, bum.
A ton of hits for Eurythmics.
If you want a fun listen to Missionary Man with the idea of a Mormon missionary in mind. It fits quite well.
you had that on one of your tapes on the mission, didn't you?
No, but I sang it a couple times,
So Eurythmics have 75 million records sold.
which is the high end of records sold on our thing here. Echo and the Bunnymen, not as much. And by the way, Eurythmics comes from a way, it's a, like, phonics, Hooked on Phonics.
Yeah.
Eurythmics is a form of teaching children how to read music. That's
Oh,
where it
my
comes
goodness.
from. It's the Annie Lennox, one of the band members that she did when she was younger.
I just learned something today. This is easily going to Eurythmics.
It is,
Yep.
and I want to give some credit to Echo and the Bunnymen because
Sugar
they have
Kisses?
songs. Well, they have songs in Pretty in Pink and Grosse Point Blank and Donnie Darko, and it was a interesting band, but it never sat in one of my
A cult
favorites.
favorite.
Yeah, a lot of people like them. But
And honestly, probably more of a lasting legacy than Eurythmics, because I think people think Eurythmics are kind of annoying at this point.
what?
Yeah.
No.
Sweet Dreams?
Come on. Really?
So good.
I mean,
one
that
has
song
legacy.
is great, but
Sweet Dreams has legacy, man.
I mean, with Marilyn Manson.
No.
Just
But high five. We agree. You're the next moves on.
all right. Our next challenge is going to be Simple Minds attempting to take on In Excess.
I just looked at Joel and I got scared.
I'm just so glad Jacob didn't say Simple Minds versus INXS.
No, I was going to do that joke, and I was getting tired.
This is a first round
INXS.
matchup, everybody. Simple Minds.
I was doing the British accent, so it can't be as dumb. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very proper.
Yeah, but
Right.
no, I was actually looking at Kent and smiling about this one because I know that this one hurts him.
It hurts. I mean, with Simple Minds, we have Don't You Forget About Me.
Hey, 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 hey.
And I've raised my hand up in the air.
Ooh, whoa.
Alive and Kicking, which is a big hit. Sanctify Yourself.
Alive and kicking.
And then we have In Excess.
Don't you?
With Dum, dum, dum.
Yeah.
Oh, man, so many.
Boom, boom. So there's Need You Tonight, Devil Inside, New Sensation, Give Me What You Need, Give Me What You Need,
Inside.
Never Tear Us Apart, The One Thing.
Never tear us apart.
Dun, 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 dun. I will say this, In Excess, they did start as a new wave band, but they kind of went more rock.
They did, especially near the end.
They did.
But okay, so man, this is a tough one because they both have as much as we're giving a lot more love to In Excess, Simple Minds did outsell them.
Did they?
60 million records worldwide for Simple Minds, 55 million records worldwide for In Excess.
So not too much difference there.
No, and In Excess is Australian, Kent.
But Simple Minds is Scottish. In fact, they are one of the most commercially successful Scottish bands ever.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Well, and they Breakfast Club really only had one big hit, and that was "Don't You Forget About Me." They had "Alive and Kicking,"
That's a
which
huge
charted,
song, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but even then, I think it's the only good song on the Breakfast Club soundtrack. Come at me, bro.
And it's really good on the Pitch Perfect soundtrack as well.
What did you just say?
Yeah, it's in Pitch Perfect.
Wash your filthy mouth out.
I know I should for mentioning Pitch Perfect on the show.
But Simple Minds is essentially unknown in the U.S. They were a much bigger hit in the U.K. than they were here. So this is the question, Kent. Are you going to go with maybe more the rock side or the more pop side?
I hate this because I do think Don't You Forget About Me was so quintessential for the time. And then In Excess, I have a hard time because they also hit it big outside the 80s.
They did.
Like really big.
Yep.
But yeah, it's In Excess. I have to go In Excess.
I'm going to Simple Minds.
So let me say this. In Excess has won 6 ARIA awards, including 3 for Best Group in 1987.
Sure you want to risk this, Joel?
Yep.
In 89 and 92. 3 Grammy nominations. And they are also in the Australian Music Hall of Fame. And they are the 3rd highest selling Australian act besides AC/DC and Bee Gees here in the U.S.
Well, and Simple Minds suffered from the same thing that Berlin had, where Don't You Forget About Me wasn't necessarily written by them. So there was a lot of contention, and the band essentially fell apart after they had that big hit. But I got to go with Simple Minds because Don't You Forget About Me, Judd Nelson with his fist in the air, that's 80s. That's
feels
Breakfast
like a
Club.
one-hit wonder versus a legacy band.
This goes In Excess all the way.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
I can accept that because, man, I like both these bands.
Next up, gentlemen, we're going to have some new clever names. Tears for Fears versus the Fine Young Cannibals.
So Tears for Fears, of course, shout, shout, let it all out. And Fine Young Cannibals, you get that.
She drives me crazy.
Hey, we had all 3 of us there.
But I mean, the other hits, of course, that
Sowing the seeds of love.
that's, more Tears for Fears.
Yes.
And then everybody wants to rule the world.
Thanks for playing your little lute right there.
They've got quite a few
Was that a
hits.
lute?
And then, well, Fine Young Cannibals, lets you think they're a one-hit wonder. They also had Good Thing.
A number 1 hit, by the way.
Where have you gone? Do, 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 good thing. And actually, Fine Young Cannibals was formed after the beat fell apart. Once the English beat fell apart, 2 of the musicians went with Roland Gift and created this new band, which Roland Gift, he's that high-pitched singer guy.
Yeah.
He's also on Highlander, the TV series, as Xavier St. Cloud.
Very interesting.
But I watched that show
With
religiously.
Adrian Paul?
You know what, guys don't realize how my worlds collided when I was watching this show that I loved, and all of a sudden I saw a music video with the guy, and I'm like, that's the bad guy from Highlander.
Yeah.
But
I will say this, though. The album Songs from the Big Chair was in every home in the 1980s and should have been.
Yes. Tears for Fears. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm giving this to Tears for Fears.
30 million albums.
They honestly, they outperform them. They are more 80s. They are more new wave. I feel like Tears for Fears should take this.
Joel, high five.
All right, next up, gentlemen, we're going to have Alphaville versus Information Society.
Forever young. I want to be forever young. I don't know why I went falsetto there.
It was really falsetto.
Is that how it went?
Yeah, no, not really.
No, really.
Joel, you keep it up. You're going to go big in Japan.
Tonight, big in Japan.
All right.
Big in Japan.
Did I get that right?
The eastern sea so blue.
Is that from Teen Wolf?
No. I think I know,
feel
what,
like it's
I
from
think I
Teen
know what
Wolf.
you're thinking of, but I don't think it's the same song.
Okay.
We'll have to check that out.
And then also Information Society.
Which Information Society, you probably know what that dun, 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 pure energy. Dun, 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 pure energy.
Spoken by Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they got the voice clip of
that's
Spock
right, yeah.
saying it.
I want to know what you're thinking.
There are some things you can't hide.
So glad you sing that part.
I love that song. And then also, think about it. Think about it. Think about it. It's another one of my favorites. It's very kind of almost EDM dance music.
In fact, it feels like an early 90s hit, to be honest with you.
Well, they were all over Club MTV back in the day.
Yeah, Club MTV.
But they're all about remixes and electronic. And the funny thing is, I thought for sure they were just some eclectic French or British band.
Yeah.
No, they're from Minnesota.
Minnesota, eh?
Minnesota. And then you get Alphaville, and man, Forever Young, that's a great song. Like the band actually was called Forever Young initially, and then changed to Alphaville, and then created a song called
Oh, no. I'm going against the logic I've been using all show with my winner on this one.
Really?
Yeah.
What logic are you talking about here, Ken? 'Cause
Honestly, in terms
Yeah.
of...
you
when were
basically
you
just been
logical?
picking at random.
No, my logic has been charting hits for this one. I've been going a lot of number ones, and Information Society had number 3, and a number 76 on the top 100. Alphaville had a number 65 and a number 66.
On the top 100 or on the dance charts? Because they charted a lot on the dance charts.
On dance charts, I only went Billboard Hot 100.
Okay.
And Alphaville did much worse, but man, if Forever Young is not that song that you remember, it is one of the first songs that come up in a New Wave playlist.
I haven't think I've heard this one.
My seventh grade girlfriend.
That reminds you of your song? Is
That was
that
our
one of your
song.
songs?
That was our song.
And now it's your wife's song because you gave it to your
It's
wife.
time you both sing it
We did.
Hold on, can we slow dance
together,
side to side?
Yeah.
Some are like water, some are like a heat. Some are a melody and some are the beat.
Is that Bobby
Sooner or
McFerrin?
later, they all...
Why'd you laugh like that?
Oh, wow.
So I'm going Alphaville on this one, even though it breaks my logic.
Oh, good. I'm glad you went Alphaville. No, I got to go Alphaville too.
You do?
I got to. I have to go Alphaville because as much as I love Information Society, I feel like Alphaville is much... Because Information Society...
It sounds like you really like those guys.
I do, but I
they're
can
good.
never remember who sings the songs. Like the other day, I was like, what's that song? The Think About It song. And it's hard to look for a song called
Pure
Think,
energy.
by the way.
When I was a kid, I thought Depeche Mode sang every 80s song.
Walking away from...
thought they sing this song, too.
Walking away from things. But yeah, I got to give it to Alphaville as well. Oh, I'm so sorry, Information
begrudging.
Society. That was a hard one.
Let's do a begrudging high five, Joel.
Our next match
We hope you're playing along, by the way, at home and getting mad when we don't pick what you wanted.
is going to go back to Kent's childhood when he would rip the heads off dolls and make them talk to each other with the talking heads. And then also, some people did not have hats. So they're going to go up against the men without hats.
S, 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 A, 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 F, 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 E, 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 T, T.
Why? Dance. Beep, 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 beep. We're so good.
That was bad.
We're amazing. You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind because your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance with no friends of mine.
I always thought it was you can leave your pants behind. I honestly thought it was you can leave your
We
pants
used to
behind.
sing, you can dance, everybody take off your pants.
I thought it was, is it wiggle your hands?
No, everybody's taking a chance.
I thought it was everybody wiggle your hands.
I think there was a part where it's, everyone look at your hands, I think is what they say at one point. But anyway,
It's a safety dance.
this is a hard one for me because Talking Heads, they have
Burning down the house.
yeah, but it's hard to sing David Byrne's songs.
Butter. Burning down the house.
There you go. People on their way to work. Dun, 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 dun. But then you have, you find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife.
Yeah.
And say, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by. Let the water hold me down.
Also, Psycho Killer.
1977.
Oh, okay.
Oh, come on, Kent.
Still.
Bad form.
Still.
I
Great
had that
song.
marked. And these really, like these Talking Heads helped pioneer the new wave music. They were pop, punk, art rock, funk, and world music. And they also had this kind of anxious, clean-cut image, which really fit the mold of what they wanted new wave to be.
Yes.
They did start earlier, or well, yeah, a little bit earlier, 1975, whereas Men Without Hats, 1977. This is not an easy one for me, gentlemen.
I feel like this one's really easy. I think we're
you?
going for a basic one-hit wonder that had...
No, but then you have Pop Goes the World.
Pop Goes the World did hit number 20.
Johnny had guitar, Jenny played bass. The name of the band was The Human Race. Everybody, Pop Goes the
Super
World.
tacky versus one of the most influential bands of the new wave movement.
Yeah.
I mean, they're number
But Kent,
64 on
you don't
VH1's 100
understand.
Greatest Artists of All Time.
The group's name came from when the brothers, following a self-described principle of style before comfort, refused to wear hats during Montreal's cold winters, calling themselves the Men Without Hats.
No, dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
4 of the Talking Heads albums are like 4 of the best critically acclaimed albums of all time. This is the Talking Heads all the way.
It is.
But I'm happy that you really
It
fought
is.
for Men Without Hats because I thought you were going to fight too hard for them.
No.
For our next match, gentlemen, we're going to take on the Psychedelic Furs versus the Pet Shop Boys, which is interesting because pets often have fur.
They do.
What have I done?
I'm glad you're finally
What have I
catching on
done?
why I put these bands together.
Yeah,
What have I
I know,
done
I'm
since
watching.
this?
I've noticed it.
So Psychedelic Furs, I'll give them some love here. Love my way.
Yeah.
It's a new world. And they also sing
Pretty
Pink,
in Pink. Yeah.
which I didn't like the movie. I didn't really like the song.
It's a good song. The song actually preceded the movie by years.
They did have The Ghost in You in Stranger Things, which is fine.
I actually think Psychedelic Furs is a really cool band.
I've never been a big fan.
Really?
I'm going to have to get, well, I mean, between this and Pet Shop Boys, which is one of my favorite bands, not even 80s
Let
bands,
me just go with
favorite
this. West End Girls, number 1. What have I done to deserve this? Number 2. Always on my mind. Number 4. It's a Sin. Number 9. Opportunities. Number 10. I could keep going with their hits, honestly.
West End Girls.
50 million records.
That's a few.
They are listed as the most successful duo in UK music history.
That's
by
almost
Guinness
more
Book of World
listeners than we
Records.
have.
Yeah,
Almost.
Almost. 50 million records worldwide for Pet Shop Boys, which is pretty high.
Look.
And they sing possibly one of my favorite all-time favorite songs.
Which
ever.
is?
Always on My Mind.
Okay.
I love that version of it.
I would say
Prove
this.
it. Prove it.
Well, I was singing it?
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good. It's not as good without
Can
the
you sing
synthesizer
it?
behind
Can
it.
you sing it like Bobby McFerrin?
Using all my own instruments as my voice? How does that work?
I'll say this. We've talked a lot about how you don't really remember who sings a lot of these songs, right? Like they all kind of mesh together.
You're looking at Jacob here.
Yes, I'm looking right at Jacob.
Yeah.
Pet Shop Boys you'll never confuse for anyone else.
Well, yeah, probably not.
I wouldn't.
Except for the Psychedelic Furs. Because the pets and fur.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
theme, sure.
But as the most successful duo in UK music history, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, I got to give it to Neil Tennant and Chris Lowe with the Pet Shop Boys.
Pet Shop Boys all the way.
Thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this. But you have reached the end of Side 1. Please flip the tape to enjoy Side 2.
People are actually going to try and flip the podcast.
We're halfway done.
Oh, let's hurry up.
Well, it's more than half with the intro and stuff, but we're
Yeah,
halfway
yeah.
through this list.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to have The Cure versus the Spandau Ballet.
Which The Cure, they have such hits as Love Song, Friday I'm in Love, Pictures of You. Those are all very good.
Just like Heaven, Fascination Street.
What about Saturday? Is he in love on Saturday or is it just Friday?
What does he say about Saturday? Saturday always comes too late.
Saturday way?
Sunday always comes too late, but Friday never hesitates. And then with Spandau Ballet, you get ha 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 ha. I know this much is true. True.
And,
See, Joe, that's how to own it. That's how to
and
own
the best disco song of the 80s, Gold.
Oh yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Da-na-na-na-na, Gold.
Gold. Yeah, this is obviously going to The Cure. So let's just.
That Gold song, that is...
It's awful.
It really isn't that good.
All right, the next matchup is the men pretending to be at work. No, I read this wrong. The Pretenders versus Men at Work.
There
Is
you
there a
go.
difference there?
Yes, Pretenders sing "Back on the Chain Gang" and "Don't Get Me Wrong."
Men at Work sing. That was the saxophone
Was that James
part.
Bond?
Yeah.
Who can it be now?
Who can it be now?
And obviously, I come from a land down under.
Remember and men blunder. I have no idea what it says.
Men plunder, women grow, and men plunder.
They're actually from Minnesota too, right?
Actually, it's Down Under. That song taught me about Vegemite.
Yeah.
And he just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich.
Which is disgusting. That is an insult. No one should ever give anyone a Vegemite sandwich.
Although they say Men at Work created worldwide interest in Australia and Australian music. Basically, it's them and Crocodile Dundee that introduced America to Australia.
Oh, that's so sad.
But 30 million albums worldwide for Men at Work. And then you get the Pretenders, who's
Chrissy Hind.
Yeah, it's actually kind of
Legendary.
sad because two of their band members died pretty close together from drug overdoses, and it kind of killed the band. It legitimately killed the band after that happened. But yeah, and even my favorite Pretender song came out in 1994. I'll stand by you. I'll stand.
Yeah, but it was
by
a
you.
different genre for them. I mean, they grew up a little bit because they were pretty rocky and new wave back in this.
They
in this
were,
time.
but I'm gonna have to give this to Men at Work.
See, I'm glad we're disagreeing. Finally, again. So I'm giving Pretenders because Back on the Chain Gang was number 5. Don't get me wrong, number 10. Brass and Pocket.
Wait, sing one of those again.
Number 14.
Yeah, sing one of those again, Ken.
And Middle of the Road, number 19. Show Me 28. My Baby 64. I just did 7 singles.
How does the
throwing
Pretenders
around
go?
numbers now.
And Who Can It Be Now and Down Under did really, really well, but they only had 4 hits compared to 7.
But 30 million albums worldwide for Men at Work.
That's big.
It's much less for Pretenders. It only was like, I think one album went platinum.
I feel like I'll lose this one, but I feel like Pretenders have...
Because you're not going to sing? You're not going to try?
I'm not going to sing.
Don't get him wrong.
See? There you go.
Yep, that's going to go to Men at Work then.
Oof.
All right.
He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to move on because it's time for us to talk about the Holy Catholic, just the church, not necessarily a specific church, just
Like we say we have to hurry.
the church. We're not sure what exactly church they're going to reference, but they're going to take on OMD.
How bizarre.
Okay. No, it's
OMC.
Orchestral
How Bizarre.
Maneuvers in the Dark.
Yes.
Now, Kent, when we talked about this, you said there, you weren't going to fight too much. There was a lot of easy runs this first round. And I said, there are hills that I will die on. This is one of those hills. I will fight for OMD if you're not going against them.
You want to do this?
OMC, I think.
Because OMD is by far one of the most influential and classic 80s bands ever. Period.
Would you say if Kraftwerk were the Elvis Presley of synth pop, then Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark were its Beatles?
Oh, I would say that. You got that quote too, huh?
Yeah.
No, an OMD, okay, so Under the Milky Way. I can't even remember how that goes right now. Can you remind me, Kent?
I can't.
They've really made an impression, huh?
Oh, because I had a hard time with that one. And I know if I heard Under the Milky Way, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that song. But Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, OMD.
Well, too bad Kent unplugged
When you think
Alexa.
of, if you leave, don't look back. I'll be running the other way.
Is that the real lyrics right
Yeah.
there? Okay.
Yeah.
Just wondering. You seemed a little unsure.
Oh, I love that. Well, I
It
kind
doesn't
of
seem to rhyme either.
I didn't do the rhyming part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's that part go?
If you leave, I won't cry. I won't waste one single day. But if you leave, don't look back.
Okay.
I'll be running the other way.
That's rude. Because I've turned around now. You should be there.
It's pretty whiny music, though, to be honest with you.
Whiny? What are you talking
That
about? Whiny?
song's pretty
Kent,
whiny.
We can't spend too much longer on this.
Okay, you're right.
Get
You're right.
to the church.
It's totally OMD. Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. I don't know why Joel even questioned me on that.
I
Of course.
don't know. I just want to know that that's. I want to stress how much I love OMD right at the beginning.
Gents, our next match is going to consist of Violent Femmes versus Kim Wilde, who is also a violent femme. Femme fatale.
When I'm walking, I strap my stuff, and I'm so strung out. High as the kite. Let's move on. We got to go quick.
Din, 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 din,
And Kim Wilde.
I don't have to go that
We're the
quick.
kids in America.
Which I prefer the set me free, why don't you, babe? Get out my life, why don't you, babe? 'Cause you don't really love me. You just keep me hanging on.
Oh, look,
That's a better song for sure.
I'm sorry. Violent Femmes, they crossed over into the 90s, became huge. But if we're talking new wave, it's Kim Wilde's all the way.
Well, and also, I don't feel like... When I was thinking of all new wave bands, I didn't really think of Violent Femmes as a new wave band.
Right.
Violent Femmes really is kind of a one-hit wonder to me. So, yeah, Kim Wilde.
Well, Gone, Daddy Gone, Add It Off,
like
Add It Up,
Gnarls
Kiss
Barley.
Off.
No. They really didn't have much success here.
Dude, those songs lasted
Which,
at least
by the way,
15 years.
Violent Femmes, once again, I thought they were British. They're totally from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Wisconsin again? Or it was Minnesota last
It was
time?
Minnesota before. But I've just never been a big fan of...
No, they're actually called one of the most successful alternative rock bands of the 1980s. And remember, alternative was synth pop. It was new wave at that time.
But these guys don't really strike me as synth pop.
yeah, but I honestly think, I mean, look, I'm not voting for them, so I shouldn't even waste time on them. But I think their
Okay, we're
songs
moving on.
lasted for decades.
Next up, the match of the century. The band that you know as only people that go around in fancy cars with flashing lights above them. The Police.
He's going to do this every time.
The Bobbies.
Versus... Oh, yeah, I need a British word for police. Is that it, Bobbies?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bobbies. I don't think I've heard that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Follow my lead.
I'm giving up. I'm giving versus the Human League.
I was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar.
I'm voting Human
That
League.
much
Human
was
League all the way. I'm
true.
voting
What
for
did
them.
I sing it? I
Don't
sang it wrong.
you want me, baby? Don't you want me?
Oh.
It's a good song.
They
And then-
also... they sing
What's the Police
Fascination.
anyway?
Yeah,
Keep
and Mirror Man.
running, Fascination. Dun, 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 dun. And then Human was a new...
Yeah, number one hit.
We're only human.
Or Are We Dancer?
That's exactly right. But then you get the Police.
Yeah.
Don't stand so close to me.
Really big in the 70s,
You gonna
though.
do Roxanne for us?
Roxanne. That's actually 70s.
Really?
Yeah, they hit it pretty big in the 70s.
They hit it pretty big in the 70s, but they're that's the weird thing about them, by the way. So they had 3 albums in the 80s, and they had only, like, it was in this very short time
Yeah,
period.
they went to 86, and then they
And-
broke up.
83.
Oh.
83 was their last studio album. Well, that's no, they broke up, but the last studio album
Yeah.
was 83 with Synchronicity. But their biggest hits came in those last couple in the 80s. They had Roxanne just before.
Yeah.
Fine. But then you get Every Little Thing She Does is Magic, Every Breath You Take, King of Pain, these iconic 80s songs. They're considered one of the first new wave groups to achieve mainstream success.
Look,
But they hated each other.
yeah, they did. I don't really consider them new wave, but man, you can't ignore them, and they have to win this one.
Agreed.
What do you consider them?
Honestly,
A little more rock?
a little more rock.
I can see that. But we agree?
High five.
Next match is Wham! Exclamation point versus the Naked Eyes.
Jitterbug.
You gotta see. You gotta
Jitterbug.
You gotta stop singing the wrong song. You're singing the song of the band that we talked about before.
I couldn't
It's like,
stop. I can't help but sing Wham, Joel. I
I
can't
got
help
the
it.
boom boom into my heart. Dun, dun. That's Wham. And then you get things like, well, of course, and I'm never gonna dance again.
Oh, man.
Guilty feet have got no rhythm.
But
What's
Joel,
your favorite song ever?
but there's always something there to remind me.
dun 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 dun.
So
dun,
good.
dun. That's so good. And then they have that
Promises.
promises. Why do I believe
Something interesting about Naked Eyes, it feels like people didn't really believe they played their own songs because
they
Why?
never toured.
yeah, they never toured.
They could not get this. They could not recreate the same sound on stage that they created in the studio with all their layering and synth. That
They
were doing.
claimed that the 1980s technology was not advanced enough to reproduce their multi-layered sound in concert, and people are like, "Huh, sounds a bit fishy." So they're kind of like Milli Vanilli, maybe.
Could be, but of course, I'm going to give this one to Wham because man, George Michael and whatever his name was, they were great. Andrew Ridgely, that's his
And
name.
they were known as Wham UK in the US, but then they just went as Wham.
Yeah, because they had some almost.
You're going
trademark
Wham
issues.
too?
Oh, it's Wham.
Yeah.
Bam, thank you, ma'am.
Raging out of the sky, we have Falco
Amadeus
versus the Midnight Oil.
How can we dance when our earth is turning?
I don't know the words.
And how do we sleep while our beds are burning? The time has come to save
the
the
rent.
rent. What?
Pay the rent eventually,
To pay
right?
the rent.
Yeah, they do say
to
that.
pay our share.
But isn't it that song so weird? I mean, his voice
That's
is
not
just
Green
the
Day.
crazy. I'm having trouble trying to sleep.
I actually have Beds Are Burning. That was my alarm clock. Like, that was the song that woke me up for my high school years, maybe. Because it starts off with bam, bam, bam. Bam, 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 bam.
It's funny you
it's a
say
great
Green
wake-up
Day,
song.
Joel, because Green Day was one of the bands that say they were influenced by Midnight Oil, along with Pearl Jam, Garbage, Cranberries, Crowded House, Living End, and REM.
They do have a lot of influence, and they're Australian too. So I knew you were going to talk about this
A little bit.
They're also very
a lot of
political.
Australians.
A lot of their songs are political. Like, they have songs called like U.S. Forces. Beds Are Burning is all about the mistreatment of Aborigines.
Yes.
Dead Heart, Power and the Passion.
In fact, the lead singer, he actually went on to become a political activist after they broke up.
He did. But then you get Falco. And Falco, I'm actually a big Falco fan. He did outsell Midnight Oil. Midnight Oil had about 12 million albums worldwide. Falco has about 20 million albums worldwide and 40 million singles.
I dispute that because it says, this is the only one on Wikipedia, it says, according to his estate, he's sold 20 million albums. I think they went a little big on this one.
No,
I think
did
they
not.
embellished it. According to his estate?
He is the best-selling Austrian singer of all time.
So he
Kent.
sold like 3 million, maybe.
No, and also that's not his only song. He has De Commissar, which don't turn around. Uh-oh. Now, granted, it wasn't his version that made it big. It was actually another band called, what was their name? After the Fire, I think it was.
Yeah, because he sang it in German.
But then they have Vienna Calling, which I also really like. Hello, Vienna Calling.
London
Hello,
Calling.
Oh, Vienna Calling.
Yeah, nobody knows that.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
No, but Falco was, I mean, he's singing German in most of his songs, but he is actually really talented, and he's one of the few foreign artists to get a #1 hit in the United States.
All right. What are you voting for?
He's the only artist whose principal language was German to score a vocal #1 in the #1 hit in the United States.
So, Joel, who's your vote?
Falco.
Oh, okay. I'm going Midnight Oil because I'm going cultural relevance.
They're basically
and
a
influence.
one-hit wonder. Sing one other song by Midnight
The
Oil.
Dead Heart.
Sing it.
It's hit number 53.
Sing it.
I don't know it. But
Sing it. The only one people know
12
is
million
Beds Are
albums
Burning.
worldwide.
20 million albums worldwide.
They say.
All right, Joel. Sing Falco again.
Rock me, Amadeus, 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 Amadeus.
But if we're going
Amadeus,
influence,
Amadeus,
who is
Amadeus.
influenced by Falco?
Oh, Amadeus.
Nobody.
No, it's your turn to sing, Kent.
Oh. The time has come to pay the rent. So Midnight Oil,
Number one.
Look at the influence.
Rock Me Amadeus is the #1 of the Billboard charts in 1986.
Almost everyone we mentioned on
Where did
in our
Midnight
90s
Oil chart?
bracket. Pearl Jam, our winner of our 90s
Where
bracket.
did Midnight Oil chart?
Number 17 with Beds Are Burning.
#1 with Rock Me Amadeus.
I'm sorry. Look, I'm going with there's tack and then there's actual talent.
There's New
And
Wave
Midnight-
and there's
the Austrian rapper.
political rock.
The Austrian rapper versus political Australian rock.
Oh, I forgot to mention that.
Austrian rapper.
No, yeah, that he hit Falco, an Austrian white guy, peaked at number 18 on the top R&B hip hop albums.
Who did your guy influence, though? David
Everyone.
Hasselhoff, maybe?
Everyone.
Mine was REM,
Everyone's influenced by Falco.
Pearl Jam, Green Day,
Don't speak ill of the dead, Kent.
Cranberries.
They probably loved Falco.
Jake, you're going to have to decide on this one.
Okay, we're
Midnight Oil or Falco?
going to go Falco on this one.
Yes!
That's really disappointing.
All right, next up, we're going to have more alliterations of artist names. First, Adam Ant. Second, Duran Duran. They will now fight to the death in a cage match.
And this is actually, it's harder than it seems because Adamant was really big in the UK.
Yeah.
But Duran Duran outsold him by so much. And this isn't just Adam Ant. This is Adam Ant and Adam and the Ants.
Yes.
Because he was,
You could just be making up things right now.
well, Adam and the Ants was a band starring Adam Ant as kind of the
Duran
lead
Duran
guy.
must have sold them like times 10.
Which, by the way, his real name is
way more
Stuart
than-
Leslie Goddard. But
So,
he
so
changed-
tell the story about Adam and the Ants because it's crazy.
No, that's the thing that one of the most fascinating stories actually I learned during my research was the Adam and the Ant story. So Adam Ant is kind of leading this band, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have all these hits." They had
Yeah.
a couple big hits, and then they approached this producer. Was
Yeah,
it?
so he went to the manager of the Sex Pistols. His name is Malcolm McLaren, and he said, "Hey, come manage our band because you're spicy, you're
Yeah.
provocative. Come manage
You're
our
gonna
band."
help take us to the next level.
So this guy, do you know what he did? He said, "Hey, Adam, nice to meet you. I'm going to need the 3 guys that are playing with you to come with me, and you stay here." So he took the 3 other bandmates.
He took the Ants away from Adam Ant and
gave them a new lead
and started
singer.
Bow Wow Wow. Started a whole new band with all his. He basically there was a mutiny. They went against Adam Ant and said, "We're starting our own band."
Yeah.
But
Isn't that
Adamant,
crazy?
And then they made Bow Wow Wow. So
Yeah.
No, and they're on our bracket.
They're on our bracket.
Yeah.
But Adamant, he sings goody two, goody two, goody,
Yeah.
goody two shoes, goody two.
Kinda like
goody
Rockabilly
two,
a little
goody,
bit.
Goody two shoes, which I like that song.
Yeah.
And then you get Duran Duran. Do I need to list off names of bands?
no, you just sing a couple.
Yeah.
So name is Rio. Yeah. So good.
Keep going.
So the Reflex. Oh, man. Of you to a
Why
Kill.
I got to lose it. Try. Oh, no, I messed it up. Sorry. I'm not very good.
Close enough.
Hungry like the wolf.
And I'm hungry like the wolf.
I mean, look, we could just go on.
They also did a Bond song, of You to a Kill.
Yeah. Also number one hit.
And they sold over 100 million records worldwide, which, as I mentioned, that's the high end. That's as high as we get.
Awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah. Not many people get that. Who was the other one that got, was Depeche Mode was the other one that got 100 million.
Yes. These two. And yeah, also part of the new romantic scene, and along with Spandau Ballet. But, obviously this band killed him. It's Duran Duran.
It's Duran Duran.
Easily.
All right. I'm voting Adamant because that story's so sad.
Yeah, you feel bad for him, right?
You do feel a little bad for him, but apparently he's kind of a jerk.
It is now time for us to experience the new order in a head-to-head combat versus Yaz.
So this one is hard for me. And it's only hard because
It's actually a really tough one.
This is a difficult one for me because both of these bands really do scream 80s to me. New Order, they get that Blue Monday. How does it feel
Cover's
to
better.
treat me like you do? I actually really do like the cover. And then you get True Faith. I used to think that the day would never
Their biggest hit,
come.
actually.
Yeah, that was one of their best ones. And New Order actually came about. We're gonna talk about Joy Division later on. But Joy Division, once their lead singer, I believe it was, died, they became New Order. They started a new band and became New Order. And
Then you have Yaz or Yazoo.
yeah, and they're called Yazoo.
Yeah.
But then they couldn't be called Yazoo in America because of Yazoo Records, so they shortened their name to Yaz. But actually, Vince Clarke from Depeche Mode, who was the primary songwriter for Depeche Mode's first couple albums, he wrote such hits as "Just Can't Get Enough." He moved to Yaz. That became Yaz or Yazoo.
What a traitor.
And they sing
Why'd he do that?
Only you.
do.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, get to the. Man, don't you know I never gonna let you go? Don't go. What's the? Oh yeah, situation.
Situation.
Move out. Don't mess around. Move out.
Also,
bring me down.
These bands
Move
cross
out.
over so much. So yeah, Vince Clarke from Depeche Mode, he left this band in 1983
Oh, we'll get there.
and formed another band that's on our bracket.
Probably my favorite band on the bracket.
Oh,
Really?
You're
Yeah.
playing it right there, huh?
I'll say that.
And so
it's not going to mean they're going to win. I've had favorites before that have lost.
And it's funny because Situation actually was only a B-side in the UK, like didn't do well at all. But that is the song they were known for here.
Yeah. And Yaz, they were kind of this like experimental, hey, we're just going to try this for a couple albums band. And Alison Moyet, she wanted to keep going. She's kind of the vocal, which I always thought Yaz was sung by a guy when I was a kid. And it wasn't until later that I was like, oh, it's a girl singing that? She's got a really low voice.
Right.
But, and Yaz had a couple of those really good songs. But I've got to give it to New Order. I think Bizarre Love Triangle alone is very, very, very new wave, very, very 80s.
Can you sing that one?
That's the one. Every time I see.
Also, Blue Monday was the best-selling 12-inch single of all time.
And New Order strive for a non-image. They had very plain covers. They didn't do a lot of interviews and didn't do a lot of. When they did a concert, they would do no encores. They'd do their set and they'd be done. Like they'd kind of
That's for
maintain
the
that.
best.
But Yaz, I enjoy Yaz. I think they're good, but I've got to give it to New Order.
Yeah, especially
Sure.
because Yaz, they broke up in 1983.
Yeah, they're 81 to 83.
Yeah.
And then 2008, they had a reunion apparently.
All right, for the next matchup, we're going to have two men with very ordinary names fight to the death. Firstly, Howard Jones taking on Corey Hart.
So Howard Jones, you get so many hits. I can't
So
even think
many
of it.
hits.
I like to get to know you well. I like to get to know you well. I like to get
Very
to know
clever.
you well. We can be one together.
Then you have Corey Hart, which is I wear my sunglasses at night.
so I can, and then no one knows the next words.
See the light
Doesn't say anything.
that comes through sunglasses at night.
But
Probably right.
Oh, you're thinking he's a one-hit wonder, but then you have that Never Surrender, which
Which was actually a bigger hit,
it was,
but
and it was
not
a little
a new wave hit.
It's much more adult contemporary.
It is. In fact, Corey Hart is more of an adult contemporary artist.
Hashtag blame Chunga.
No, actually, he fought against this one.
Yeah.
This is the one we added to the list, Joel.
No?
We truly did.
Why did we put him on there?
I don't know.
I'll say this doesn't seem new wave at all.
Yeah.
Even
Well,
sunglasses at night.
Sunglasses is new wave. It's got that
Is it?
synthesizer kind of thing going on to it.
He actually had a few hits. There was Never Surrender, number 3, Sunglasses at Night, It Ain't Enough, and I Am By Your Side.
Yeah. But you get Howard Jones, and that guy just has hits just pouring out of him. And I've seen him in concert. He's good.
You've
live.
seen him in concert?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm super jealous.
It was at X96 Bash. It was the first
6.
X96 Bash.
So can I be honest here?
Sure.
Howard Jones is a name that I probably couldn't have picked out of anywhere.
Really?
And then as I was doing the research, I listened to every one of his songs, and I was like, wow, I know all of these songs, and I love them.
Yeah. And he
Prove it.
No,
Here
so
we go.
that was the funny thing about
ready.
X96 Bash is the X96 Bash I went to, it was like Bush and Everclear,
Right.
and Gwen Mars and Moonpool and Caterpillars and Cake, like all these alternative bands. And then
then
right
Howard
near the end,
Jones.
right before Bush, it was Howard Jones. And he's up there with his piano
Wow,
and he's
that's
this
kinda
older
random.
man. It was great though.
Stephen Thomas Erlewine of All Music says Howard Jones is one of the defining figures of mid-'80s synth pop. Like, I do want to give some love to Corey Hart because he's an inductee of Canada's Walk of Fame.
Canada's Walk of Fame.
Yeah, he's
I
Canadian.
thought you were going to give him love because he got his first singing experience by singing Ben.
Is that like having your
Tom
name
Jones.
in
Did?
a sidewalk
Yeah.
in Kansas or something?
Oh, poor Canada.
He sang Ben, Ken, your favorite guilty pleasure song.
The two of us need look no more.
And
When are you singing
Corey
Howard Jones?
Hart was actually briefly considered for the role of Marty McFly in Back to the Future.
Really?
Steven
Along with everybody else,
Well,
apparently.
Steven Spielberg sent him a script, and Corey Hart was flattered and said, "I just want to stick to music,"
And he sold 16 million records worldwide. That's
which
pretty great.
Is nothing to shake a stick at. But then you get Howard Jones. Don't back up, da-da-da-da, bend your flame, da-da-da-da, see the signs, da-da-da-da, throw off your mental train. Woo-hoo-hoo. Everlasting Love.
Everlasting Love.
Oh, I love that one.
Is
I
this
need
an everlasting love?
I need a friend and a love undivided.
That's when I let Joel sing the words because I don't know 'em. Wait for it.
Give it some time.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, what are your votes here?
Good.
Howard
I mean,
Jones.
I wonder. Howard Jones.
Gentlemen, next up we have the most extraordinary matchup of the night. The Go-Go's versus the Specials.
So this. So the Specials, they're kind of like the Alarm. Many people may not know them,
Is this a euphemism, the Specials?
but they had Ghost Town, which is their biggest hit. It's
No, and the only reason I know is
down.
It's coming like a ghost town.
Yeah.
Which the only reason I know that song is because Shaun of the Dead.
That song
Oh,
is
really?
stupid.
It's actually it's a great driving song. I like it.
Really?
Yeah.
And
Oh, man,
the
it
Specials. I
annoys
mean,
me.
they had a lot of reggae and kind of ska, rock steady punk beat going
Yes.
on, but I didn't know a lot of their songs. I kind of listened to them and I'm like, I don't know that one, and so I don't think there was.
It's a cool sound, but not as new wavy.
No, definitely not. Because
In fact, they
then
probably
you get
retaliate
the
against
Go-Go's, and it's like
We got the beat. We got
Oh.
the beat. We got the beat.
You got those words right?
Yeah, we got the beat.
You can't mess that up.
Our lips are sealed. I love that one
Vacation,
too.
head over heels.
Yeah, so many good songs by the Go-Go's. And they actually got a lot of attention for being an all-female band that both wrote their own songs and played their own instruments. And you get people like Belinda Carlisle, who went on to have a very successful career.
Yeah, she did.
But then also you get Jane Weidlin.
Mm-hmm.
She was on guitars and vocals. She was Joan of Arc in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and the singing Telegram Girl from Clue.
What? Really?
Yeah.
How
from the
cool is
Go-Go's.
that?
I know. I was very impressed with that. Bet it's got to go with the Go-Go's.
The Go-Go's it is.
Definitely the Go-Go's.
Go away, the Specials.
Next up, gentlemen, the time is for Roxy Music to take on the Bengals.
No,
Good luck, Roxy.
Roxy Music. Why don't you sing their songs?
Over you. Over you.
That's Yes. That's only you from Yes.
So the Roxy Music. I said hello, you fool. I love
No,
you.
that's Roxette. Why don't we have Roxette on here? I love Roxette.
They're more early 90s.
Roxy.
That's
Isn't that
true.
like a Quicksilver?
No, Roxy
No.
Music. No, Roxy Music was actually, and this is the reason I'm going to vote against them because they were mostly a '70s band. They were formed in 1976.
Not because we can't sing a single song from them.
This is their timeline: 1971 to 1976, then 1978 to 1983, then 2001 to 2011. So you
Yes.
keep having these breaks, and a lot of people say they pioneers or they kind of fine tuned glam rock for people,
Right. Which is
And-
very 80s.
Yeah, it is very 80s, and they have some punk music in there, some new wave. And then they all broke up in 1983 to go pursue solo careers. And then, of course, you've all heard of Brian Ferry and Andy McKay and Phil Manzanera and Paul Thompson.
Oh, Paul Thompson. Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh.
Oh, yeah. I do love Paul Thompson. Yeah.
He's in One Direction now.
They weren't very good as a whole. They're not very good at separate parts.
And they're
I'm giving
against who?
It's just another manic Monday.
Oh, whoa.
I wish it were Sunday.
Oh, whoa.
Because
Should we just
that's
keep going?
a special day. It's the day you get ready for Sunday.
And then also, walk like an Egyptian.
Yes. And
No one's ever heard that one.
Eternal Flame. I love that. Is
So,
this burning?
fun fact about these guys, and I will
These
say
gals.
that these gals, and I will say I have seen this episode in February of 2001. The first season of Gilmore Girls actually had an episode where Lorelai and Rory and her friends
so happy you brought this up.
they went to a Bengals concert.
I'm so happy you brought this up.
That's very Gilmore
And
Girls.
Paris, who is it's just this big brat. So Rory took her. Oh my gosh, why am I talking about Gilmore
Wow.
Girls?
Can you hear yourself right now?
And Paris said she because she didn't want to go. She really likes band, and she tells Rory that the concert was the best night of her life. I've seen this. I've actually seen this episode, and looking this up, I'm like, I'm kind of happy I've seen that episode.
Yeah. By the way,
never
Ken,
mention the show again.
Eternal Flame. They wrote that after Graceland because they actually went to go see the Eternal Flame at Graceland, Elvis Presley's grave, and it was out. The rain had knocked it out. And they're like, "What's that?" And they're like, "It's the Eternal Flame," and they're like, "Let's write a song." Manic Monday was actually given to them by Prince.
Prince, yeah.
He gave it to him. But yes, definitely this one's got to go to the Bengals.
Bengals for sure.
Next up, gentlemen, we're going to have the Cultural Club, and they're going to be taking on this round Joy Division.
So Joy Division is another one of these bands that is very punk ska influenced, and these guys are definitely punk influenced. In fact, they only went from 76 to 1980. But I think the reason we have them on here is because they actually hit big in 1980 when bad things happen, when tragedy happened.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
The lead singer, Ian Curtis, he suffered from depression, a failing marriage, and epilepsy. And he would have seizures on stage and became very depressed about it and ended up killing himself. And it wasn't until 2 months after he died that they hit it with their biggest hit, Love Will Tear Us Apart, which is Love Will Tear Us Apart Again.
And it's a cool song, but then these guys went on, the rest of the band went on to do New Order and got
which
a lot
was
of success.
Better band.
But isn't that so sad? I mean, this is one of those
very
guys,
sad.
it's this dying too young story where everyone loves Joy Division because basically of the story.
And then on the other hand, you have Culture Club with Boy George, who is holy cow. When you think of 80s, you think of like Cyndi Lauper and Boy George.
Yeah.
That's kind of the two big icons there. Which, by the way, not Pete Best, Pete Burns from Dead or Alive, who we'll talk about. He says that that Boy George ripped off his look of like the makeup and the braids and the big hats and the colorful costumes. To which Boy George said, "It's not who did it first; it's who did it better."
Yes. So he just totally admitted it.
Oh yeah. But so Culture Club, you get things like
Jake, could I have you sing-
come a chameleon.
Jake, could you sing Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?
Maybe.
Can you sing it for us?
Man, that's like all falsetto. Do you really want to hurt me?
That's all I
Do
needed.
you really want to
Make me cry.
Bam, 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 down.
This is Culture Club all the way.
It is.
Joy Division, love ya. Cool band, but
It's definitely Culture Club.
yes.
Next matchup, we're going to have the Cause take on the unforgettable, unstoppable, super memorable Bow Wow Wow.
Actually, very memorable because they have I Want Candy.
Also,
Do You Want to Hold Me?
Yeah, Do You Want to Hold Me is fine. And remember, this is the one where they all left Adamant to go create this band.
And we've talked about them finding a new lead singer. This lead singer name is Annabelle Lewin, 13-year-old dry cleaner worker. 13 years old, became a rock star.
How did that even happen?
Malcolm McLaren found her
Yeah, and said, "Hey, you're going to sing with us."
because he just had this knack for finding the right kind of people.
Or stealing other people.
Or
from bands.
stealing's probably a
But
better
really,
term for
like,
it.
I Want Candy really is pretty much it. But then you get the Cars and you get things like Shake It Up.
Yeah, they have lots of stuff.
Ooh, ooh, shake it up. You might think it's foolish. Damn, damn.
And bands that have covered the Cars. I mean, all of these bands we've mentioned have been covered, but like Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Ziggy Marley, Poison, Deftones, Scorpions.
So you guys are going Cars?
Yeah, because the only thing really interesting about Bow Wow is the formation of the band. After that, meh.
Do Cars have a lot of 70s hits?
They had a couple 70s hits. I can't remember off the top of my head. I had you cut one from the playlist, but Kent created a playlist, by the way, if you're still listening to the show. But Kent created a playlist with all these new wave hits. You can find it at baconsale.com. No,
We'll share it on Facebook.
you can find it on Facebook.
Gentlemen, 2 more matches ahead. First, Dead or Alive.
You spin me right round, baby, right round.
Like a record, baby.
Versus Big Audio Dynamite.
The rush for a change. The rush for a change.
I wonder who's going to win this round.
Well, because people are like, "What? They're one hit wonder, Dead or Alive," and I'm like, "No, but I love Brand New Lover. I may like that more than you." That's hard. What I really need to do is find myself a brand new lover. Which, if you don't know Dead or Alive,
Hashtag Kent's Life Story.
their music videos are definitely very, very 80s.
Kent Friday Night. That's
But
better.
Dead or Alive has sold over 30 million albums, which is more than I thought they did, honestly. And Pete Burns, he passed away in 2016. So this may be speaking ill of the dead, but Pete Burns is an example of irresponsible plastic surgery.
How dare you, sir?
If you look at
He's dead.
if you just Google, just go right now, Google Pete Burns, Dead or Alive. Well, that sounds weird, but because the band's called Dead or Alive, but Pete Burns plastic surgery or Pete Burns celebrity, and you'll see that he turned himself into kind of this. I feel bad saying it, but puffy cat monster. Can I say that?
And actually, so I want to talk a little bit about Big Audio Dynamite, or BAD, as they're also known. Actually, there's like a rock legend there. So Mick Jones from The Clash came over to Big Audio Dynamite, and actually he made Big Audio Dynamite Part 2. And then just Big Audio. And now Mick Jones, he tours as part of the Gorillaz.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
It's cool. Like,
Like, you got from The
like
Clash
the longevity
to
there.
BAD to the Gorillaz.
I looked at Pete Burns. This is horrifying.
It is
Let
horrifying.
me see.
isn't it?
Let me see.
That's crazy.
Show him the
stuff.
picture. Show Kit the picture.
All right, hold on.
Oh, is that Cher?
Is that real?
That's real. That's
Oh my
real.
Gosh.
I
It's-
bet he wishes he could turn back time.
Someone's looking this up now, and you should be, because this is astonishing.
So look, this one is not super interesting, but I do have to give it to the one that I feel is more new wavy, and I feel that's Dead or Alive.
As do I.
All right.
All right, finally, we have the last match of the night. And then we're going to conclude this episode of Baconsale.
Yes.
We have, this is a long time coming, gentlemen. The Fix.
One thing leads to another.
Do what you want, say what you mean.
There you go.
One thing leads to another.
Versus Erasure.
That you give me no, that you give me no, that you give me no, that you give me no sorrow. I hear you calling. Oh, baby, please.
Well done. Well done.
I am no Andy Bell.
Matching that falsetto. That was pretty great.
Full disclosure, Erasure is one of my favorite all-time bands.
Is this the one you were talking about?
This is the one I was talking about because Vince Clarke, after he left Depeche Mode as a great singer-songwriter and went to Yaz to be a great singer-songwriter, then he went to Erasure, and that's where he's been ever since. And it's Vince Clarke and Andy Bell, the duo.
Right.
And they have sold over 25 million albums worldwide and have 24 consecutive top 40 hits in the UK, where they only have 3 in the US.
How strange that they didn't really hit it here.
I know, but I don't know.
It's funny because they're a soundtrack to every done road trip.
Seriously.
Honestly. Like The
all of our road
Innocents
trips
was our
too.
tape.
Yeah. And I love their newer stuff too, like the stuff they did in the 90s. I was a fan of that as well.
They've kind of lost it since then.
They haven't done great since then.
Right.
But man, the 80s
And their voices
music,
sound
you
bad.
get a little respect. Of course, we just sang Chains of Love, Oh L'Amour, sometimes Victim of Love, Ship of Fools.
Yeah.
All these songs I know by heart, and I just really enjoy them. And I really enjoy Erasure. So, of course, I'm going to give it to them. But a little love to The Fix.
Yeah, no, The Fix is great.
They've got some... That One Thing Leads to Another is a good song. I don't really know
In
many of
fact,
their other ones.
they actually had more U.S. hits than Erasure.
Did they?
Yeah.
They
One
didn't
Thing
sell
Leads
as
to
many
Another.
albums.
Are We Ourselves was number 15. Secret Separation, number 19. Saved by Zero, number 20. Sign of Fire, number 32. That's a lot of hits here.
Yeah, but they had nowhere near the amount of album sales as Erasure. And actually, it's kind of funny. Their original name was The Fix with one X, But then, with a potential drug user
I was just
implication,
going to
of the
say, is
band's
this about
name-
drugs?
Yeah, the MCA insisted they change their name to be Fix with 2 X's because that's totally different.
Yes.
So, of course, I'm giving this to Erasure. They're my favorite band. I'm not going to vote, completely with my heart as we go down the road.
Are you playing your hand, though, with
Kent,
Erasure?
we're going Fix, right?
Yeah, we're going Fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you kill us?
I would stab both of you right
Would you
now.
kill us?
I would. But also, I know Kent. I know you like Erasure.
I love Erasure.
So there's no way that's going to go the way. Are you voting Erasure too, Jacob?
Yeah.
One proud high five.
We're ending on a sweep, a 3-way sweep.
Finger boops.
Finger boops.
You
Boop. Jake, give us a boop.
Jacob.
Get over
wiggle
here.
your finger. That doesn't make it more enticing. Oh, gosh. Stop wiggling.
Hello. Finger boop. Finger boop. Do it.
Do it. Boop.
Okay.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that was fast. We know we jumped through a lot of those. We know we jumped through them very quickly, but we had a lot of material to get through to cut these down in half. And the next time we do this, we do the next part of the bracket, we will finish it up
single bracket.
and we will declare a winner of the 80s New Wave bracket the next time we do this.
Can be so cool.
Oh, and we hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you for listening. We really do appreciate
We
it.
do genuinely appreciate you listening to
We appreciate Jacob's accent as
His
well.
South African accent.
Let us know. By the way, get on Facebook, get on Twitter, get on Instagram. Let us know what you thought of our picks. Let us know where you agreed, where you disagreed. Let us know about your feelings towards 80s New Wave music. Let us know if we introduced you to any new bands or reminded you of any childhood memories.
Seriously, download or just jump onto the playlist and just listen because it's so much fun.
Yes, what Kent did was he took 2 hits from each band on the playlist and put them in there. So you can listen to hits from all these people and remember some of them and not remember others.
But find new bands as well.
Yeah, it's a great way to find new bands too. But if you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter, or you can find me performing with Quickwits. They perform every Saturday night at the Midvale Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quickwits Facebook page, or you can also listen for me, but you can go to baconsale.com and download this bracket and circulate it among all your coworkers and friends.
Woot. If you want to find me on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Kenny3DD. If you want to read my movie reviews, it's ShowtimeShowdown.com.
You can find me on Twitter at Jacob A. Rogers. You can also find me nowhere else because that's the only place that I go, unless you stalk me for real in life,
And
like
I
at my
do.
house, like Joel does, like Joel frequently does. Also, find Baconsale on Twitter and look forward next time to my Spanish accent.
Surfboard Stevens, branches coming out of his chest.
My pants smell like fruit.
Cease this nonsense immediately.
We don't go to 10 in this household. This is the way it's gonna be, Jacob. Being in a Burger King commercial is a darn good legacy. Have you not played it in Just Dance?
How do you end up with the last name Harry?
Your parents have it? I think that's literally what happens.
From my heart and from my hand. Why don't people understand my intentions?
Weird science.
A lot of T's there.
TTs.
No, Ken. If you wouldn't have giggled as you said it, it wouldn't have been so.
This is a
I can't help it.
giggle.
Stop giggling, Ken.
We dreams are made of this.
That's very creepy.
I just learned something today.
She drives me crazy.
That's the bad guy from Highlander.
Spandex is very
Spandex
romantic, though. Yes.
All right.
What?
Is that why you're always asking me to wear that?
That's why I'm wearing a leotard right now. Which is disgusting. That is an insult. No one should ever give anyone a Vegemite sandwich.
Who can it be now? Who can it be knocking up my door? I'm Sebastian the Crab.
I can't help but sing Wham, Joel. Should we just
That's
keep going?
a special day. It's the day you get ready for Sunday. Summer like water, summer like a heat. Some are a melody and some are the beat.
Is that Bobby McFerrin?
They all. Why'd you laugh like that? Wrap it up with the last one, Jacob.
Do you really want to hurt